There is a moment in every life when silence becomes too loud, when the weight of everything unsaid, everything undone, presses down so heavily that you can barely breathe. For most people, that moment passes, they adjust, they survive. But for some, that moment becomes a choice between continuing to disappear or finally deciding to exist. This is the story of a man who lived in shadows for so long, he forgot what light felt like, until one ordinary Tuesday morning when everything changed. Not because the world shifted, but because he did. His name was Noah, though most people never bothered to learn it. He was 32 years old, unmarried, working a job that paid just enough to keep him from dreaming bigger. Every morning, the alarm would scream at 6:15 a.m. He would hit snooze 3 times, always 3. Then he'd drag himself out of bed, shower in silence, and drive to an office where his desk sat in the corner, away from windows, away from conversations. He wasn't invisible because people disliked him. He was invisible because he had perfected the art of not being seen. In meetings, he never spoke first. At lunch, he ate alone. On weekends, he scrolled through other people's lives on screens, convincing himself he was content with observation. His mother called once a week. "Are you happy?" she'd ask. "I'm fine," he'd say fine. That word became his entire existence. Not good, not bad, just fine. But deep inside, in a place he refused to visit, Noah knew the truth. He wasn't fine. He was drowning in a life he never chose, wearing a mask he never wanted, living a story written by fear. The cracks started small. A missed promotion at work given to someone younger, louder, more visible. A phone call from an old friend, now married, talking about family vacations and new homes. A birthday that came and went with 3 text messages and a generic card from HR. Each crack was bearable on its own. But together, they formed a fracture too deep to ignore. One evening, Noah sat in his apartment, staring at the reflection in his darkened TV screen. He didn't recognize the man looking back. When did his shoulders curve inward like that? When did his eyes lose their spark? When did he become this hollow version of himself? The questions came flooding in, relentless and cruel. What have I done with my life? When did I stop trying? When did I decide I wasn't worth fighting for? He thought about his childhood self, the boy who wanted to be an architect, who drew buildings in notebooks, who believed the world was full of possibility. That boy had dreams. That boy had fire. Where did he go? The answer was painful but clear. Noah had buried him. Buried him under years of playing it safe, under fear of failure, under the crushing weight of other people's expectations. He had traded passion for comfort, courage for certainty, life for mere survival. And the worst part, he had done it willingly. No one forced him into this cage. He built it himself, bar by bar, excuse by excuse. That night, Noah couldn't sleep. The silence in his apartment felt suffocating, like the walls were closing in. He wanted to scream, but didn't know at what. He wanted to run, but didn't know where. All he knew was this: he couldn't do this anymore. The next morning, Noah woke up at 6:15 a.m. The alarm screamed. He reached for the snooze button, but this time, his hands stopped mid-air. Something inside him whispered, "What if you didn't?" It wasn't a loud voice. It wasn't dramatic. It was just a question. What if you didn't hit snooze? What if you got up? What if, just for today, you chose differently? So he did. He got out of bed on the first alarm. He showered, but this time he looked at himself in the mirror. Really looked and said out loud, "I'm going to fight for you." It felt ridiculous. His voice cracked, but he said it again. "I'm going to fight for you." On his drive to work, instead of listening to the same playlist he'd heard 1,000 times, he turned off the music and drove in silence. And in that silence, he started thinking, really thinking. What do I actually want? Not what his parents wanted. Not what society expected. Not what seemed safe or reasonable. What did he want? The answer came slowly, like sunlight breaking through fog. He wanted to create something, to build, to design, to matter. He wanted friendships that felt real, conversations that went deeper than weather and sports. He wanted to wake up excited instead of exhausted. He wanted to live, not just exist. At lunch that day, instead of eating alone, Noah walked up to a group of co-workers. "Mind if I join you?" They looked surprised, but smiled. Of course, it was a small thing. Tiny, really. But for Noah, it was revolutionary. That evening, he didn't go straight home. He drove to a bookstore and bought a sketchbook, the first one he'd touched in 15 years. At home, he opened it to the first blank page. His hand trembled as he picked up a pencil. For 10 minutes, he just stared at the emptiness, terrified. Then he drew a single line, then another, and another. It wasn't beautiful, it wasn't perfect, but it was his. And for the first time in years, Noah felt something he'd almost forgotten. Hope. The days that followed weren't easy. Noah didn't wake up transformed. He didn't suddenly become confident or fearless, but he kept making small choices. He spoke up in a meeting, just once, but he did it. He called an old friend and admitted, "I haven't been honest. I'm not okay. But I'm trying to change that." He enrolled in a night class on architectural design. He started saying no to things that drained him and yes to things that scared him. Some days were harder than others. There were moments when the old fear crept back in, whispering that he was fooling himself, that he'd never really change. But each time that voice appeared, Noah did something radical. He fought back, not with aggression, not with force, but with choice. He chose to keep drawing, to keep showing up, to keep believing he was worth the effort. 6 months later, Noah submitted a design proposal to his company, a personal project he'd been working on at night. They rejected it. But he didn't crumble. He revised it, made it better, submitted it again. A year after that morning when he didn't hit snooze, Noah stood in front of a room full of people, presenting his design. His voice was steady. His hands didn't shake. Not because he'd become someone different, but because he'd finally become himself. There's a battle most people never talk about. It's not fought on battlefields or in boxing rings. It's fought in quiet rooms, in the space between who you are and who you're pretending to be. It's fought every time you choose courage over comfort, truth over safety, growth over stagnation. Noah's story isn't about success. It's about the decision to stop abandoning yourself. Because here's the truth no one tells you. You can survive a lot of things in life: loss, failure, rejection, but you cannot survive being a stranger to yourself. The greatest tragedy isn't falling short of your potential. It's never fighting for it in the first place. So if you're reading this and you feel stuck, invisible, or lost, know this: you are worth fighting for. Not tomorrow, not when you're ready, not when conditions are perfect. Now, today, this moment. The day you decide to fight for yourself doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be as simple as not hitting snooze, as quiet as drawing a single line, as small as saying, "I matter," because you do, and the world is waiting for the person you become when you finally believe it.